Okay, it's Monday, May the 23rd. I'm in Spokane, Washington, at my sister Belva Reilly's home. Belva says that her brain doesn't start working until 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's a little after 10, so we should be in good shape, although she also says that even at its best, it's not all she would like. Just in terms of a little context, for this nice visit. On Friday, we had a celebration of life for her wonderful husband, Ken. So this is an unusual time to have this kind of interview, but in some ways it's a good time to reflect on life and its importance, and family and its importance, and that's kind of what this is all about. So Belva, I have a number of questions about you and your life, but before talking about you, let's talk about our grandparents. We had 4. And which of the 4 do you remember, and what do you remember about each of them?
Oh, on Mom's side, I remember Sam, her father, and he was very quiet, and I was a little bit scared of him because he came across kind of grumpy. Mm-hmm. And then her mother was Carrie, and she was a wild woman.
Yeah, yes, I agree.
And I remember driving her to Denver a few times when I think you didn't need driver's license, and I think it was all of Carolyn and I were all of 14 and 12 or something, and we had some wild trips with Grandma Funk. But we always had a good time.
Right.
And, on the other side, I barely remember Dad's folks. I remember his dad spoke broken English, and I was there one day when they ate, and he could scoop up anything on his knife, and he ate more from his knife than he did his fork, and that I was in awe of that. His mother, she just was so quiet. I don't know anything about her really, but I think she was a tough woman. She had like 12 kids and stuff,
right?
And she ran a tight ship, so I think she was a pretty good lady. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know anything about her.
Sure. Back on Grandma Cordes, or Grandma Funk, who's the only one that I remember my grandfather Funk a little. And you mentioned that she was a wild woman. Can you elaborate on that a little bit about her personality or whatever?
Oh, well, one of our trips I remember, we got to Laramie, Wyoming, and we stopped to eat, but parking meters were just coming into fashion, and we parked in front of a parking meter, and of course we didn't put any coins in. And so when we got out, we had a ticket. And she said, "Oh, a damn ticket," and she threw it in the back seat. She says, "Get in and drive." So
she wasn't going to be bothered by anything like that. No.
So a minor little thing like ticket wasn't going to bother her. Right. And there were quite a few things like that didn't bother her very much. You just kind of did what you wanted to do when you was, or she did what she wanted to do, I should say. And then I remember once at the house at Inning, and she was walking, she had a hired man that was supposed to be doing something in the yard, and he couldn't hear very well, and she was walking behind him, and I was with her, and she had a hammer in her hand, and she said, "Oh, he's not doing half of what he's supposed to do," and she was swinging this hammer. She says, I feel like just hitting him. And that kind of impressed me. I was pretty young. Didn't know you could hit people with a hammer. But she did crazy things like that. So
well, those are a couple of fun stories that I'm glad you shared. I wasn't aware of either one of them.
Yeah. So.
Fun. Thank you. Well, now let's talk a little bit about you. And prior to first grade, let me see. You were born in
New Underwood.
And lived at that point at the Potock Ranch on the Cheyenne River.
Right.
What do you remember about things prior to first grade?
Oh, it was great. It was so pretty on the Potock, and we played in the creek all day long in the summertime. And, we had some cats and stuff around there. We climbed trees. Yeah, I got my education climbing trees. And we had an old dog, and we played in the barn a lot.
What was the dog's name? Do you remember?
Goog.
Goog, okay.
And then when we did start school, Dad had a car that had these big old fenders and some wires up close to, I think they connected to the headlights. Anyway, Goog would jump on the fender and kind of put his feet around these wires, and he would ride up to school with us. And
on the fender?
On the fender. Oh, he loved it. He loved it. So, and we loved having him.
Yeah,
so
sure.
every time we started up the car, here came Goog, and he'd jump on the fender.
Cool.
And that's how we went to school. So, and I remember a few days seeing how far a cat could fall, and we were up in the loft of the ice house with some kids that were visiting, and we experimented, and a cat can fall a long ways without getting hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
That was our entertainment that day. And yeah.
You mentioned kids visiting. Did you have many friends in the area, or was it easy to get down there, or was it mainly just you and your sisters?
Yeah. Oh yes, it was much too far. You didn't have a casual visitor. I think we were 5 miles from the closest neighbors. So.
And during that time, of course, Jean and Twyla would have been in the picture,
right.
And I guess Carolyn as well.
Yeah.
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 And did you play a lot with them, or were you more just by yourself doing
stuff?
Oh,
no, we were always all together, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wading in the creek, getting muddy, doing all that stuff.
Right.
And one day, Mom really got after Jean and Twyla, and I can't remember what they were even doing. And I think I was all of 4 years old, and I was so mad at her for getting on them because I looked up to them,
Right.
And so they went out into the yard. They was half crying, and I was out there with them, and I just got madder and madder, and I went back to the screen door and opened up the screen door, and I said to Mom, I think you need to shut your big mouth.
Ooh.
And boy, did I that about finished me off for the day.
Not a good thing to say.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I've got to tell her a few things and straighten her out, but that didn't work.
No. That would not have been acceptable. Absolutely not. Go ahead.
Well, the other thing I remember is getting on Dad had a water tank on an old wagon, and he'd hook up the team. We had a cistern at the Potock, and we'd go up this draw. There was a spring with a pipe sticking out of it, and he would back that wagon up there, and the water would run into it, and it took like half a day. Yeah. And we loved those trips because we rode on the back of the wagon, and then we played in the stream up there and stuff, and that's how we got our water. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What kind? Well, you talked about getting in trouble with your mother by that smart remark, but what other kinds of mischiefs did you create that things you weren't supposed to do that either you got caught doing or you didn't, or were you the perfect little girl?
Oh, I wasn't perfect, but I know we always got too muddy when it was down at the creek, and of course, the washing machine was scrub board and everything by hand, so you had to be much more careful with your clothes. And I remember practically rolling in the mud down at that creek, and then I would get yelled at, you know. Right. But outside of that, I was about perfect, I think.
I'm sure you were. No doubt. Well, let's move along in time a little bit then. And you were still living at the Potock when you started the first grade.
Right.
And where was that school, and how did you get there, and what do you
Yeah.
remember about those 8? You did all 8 grades out of
Yeah.
the country school?
Right.
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 Okay.
Right. Oh. Well, my first, I started, we were still living on the Potoc, and like I say, Dad would drive us every day.
Every day, okay.
And pick us up every day. And we always had the dog. And I can't remember when we moved up on top. I mean, I can't remember
What year, what grade that might have been, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I can maybe help a little bit here. You probably would have been about 10 or 11 because I'm thinking about when I was born, which we were already living up there, which would have probably put you in maybe the 4th or 5th grade.
Fifth, something like that, yeah. And then school was a little closer there, but we walked it. It was, if you walked up by the road, it was about 2 miles.
Yeah, right.
But we would cut across the pasture a lot and walk that way. And it was a great country school. We had a lot of fun. No playground equipment or anything, but we had balls and bats, and we played a lot of baseball.
Okay.
And tag and stuff like that. What was that one? Fox and Goose or something, I can't remember.
Well, with the snow, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it snowed, we would make a pie or something.
Or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember all that.
I think that's the game I'm thinking
But
of.
we had a game that we played in the snow and stuff. And I had good teachers. There was an outdoor bathroom, of course. There was a pail of water with a little basin there, and everybody drank out of the same dip. There was a dipper in the pail, and we all drank out of the same dipper. And then at lunchtime, we'd wash our hands in the little basin or thing.
Yeah.
And
How many children, roughly, in addition to you, were in the school? Would you guess? Just one room, right?
Yeah, one room,
Yeah.
and there was a little cloakroom, little anteroom, and when I started out, it seemed like there was about 15 or so, but before I was done, I think we were down to 8 or so. It dwindled some, but it was a great life. And then, we'd play throwing the ball over the schoolhouse. What do we call that? Ante-over or something like that.
Ante-over or something like that.
Ante-over.
I remember that.
And the guy on the other side was supposed to catch it when it came over.
Yeah.
We did that a lot too. So, and we've climbed the flagpole.
Oh,
so I could climb clear to the top of the flagpole. That was just a big day when you got to the top of the flagpole.
You'd really made it then. You had arrived when you were able to get to the top. Yeah. I kind of remember some of that too. During those 8 years, when you were going to that school, what about the larger community out there at Dalzell and Elm Springs? Do you remember, were there lots of people and lots of activities, or?
Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah.
We had a 4-H club for a little bit, and then there were the Elm Springs dances and things like that.
Right.
We didn't go to town very much.
And town would have been what?
Rapid City.
Rapid City.
And that was a major event when you went to Rapid City, because you were driving down gravel road for the first 30 miles or so, and no interstate, and so it was a lengthy procedure.
Yeah. Did you have any hobbies or anything as a child? Like,
Not really.
Yeah. Okay. What about chores? Were you assigned jobs around the house? And if so,
I tried to stay outside because I liked outside better than inside, but we still got stuck with carrying in the wood, carrying in the water, gathering the eggs, feeding the cats and dogs, and sometimes out in the barn we would help Dad, clean it up a little bit, or do things out in the... Well, and then we went horseback riding a lot, because Dad would take us with us if he was rounding up cattle or something. I don't know how much help we were. We were always bringing up the tail end of the herd, and I remember some hot days doing that with dirt and flies and
No water.
and no water. No. Well, at the one spring where the water came out of a pipe, he would take his hat and catch a little water in the brim because we couldn't get up to the pipe, and he would tell us to open up our mouth, and so I'm sure that was clean water.
Well, you're doing well. You're still alive. Must not have had too much of a bad effect. The ranch house. Of course, there was no indoor plumbing or anything like that.
No. You went out to outdoors.
Was it crowded? How many of you were?
No, you kind of took turns or
Yeah.
figured it out.
Yeah.
And shall I throw in the Sears catalog?
Absolutely. Tell me about the Sears catalog.
Well, I don't think toilet paper had been invented.
Right.
So there was always a couple of Sears catalogs out in the outhouse, and that's what you got to use. Right. So, toilet paper was a great invention, let me tell you.
When you were at home, maybe after all the chores were done and you'd eaten the evening meal and stuff, what might you do then?
Yeah. Well, I like to read, and I read quite a bit, but my sister Carolyn didn't, and she was always bugging me to play checkers or cards or something, and so we did stuff like that.
No video games, huh?
Oh, yeah. We had a radio, and so we did listen to the radio faithfully, but mostly for the weather.
Right.
Because and a little bit of the local news in Rapid City.
Yeah.
But well, we finally got to listening to Fibber, McGee, and Molly.
Oh yeah.
And a few of those shows.
Maybe Red Skeleton.
Yeah, Red Skeleton.
Amos and Andy.
Amos and Andy. Dad liked Amos and Andy, so we listened to that. So.
Yeah. Okay. What did you think about, or as you think back about it, the sort of the economic sense of security? Did you see the family as being poor or middle class or rich?
Nope. We just thought we was fine.
Yeah.
As a kid, you don't know any better.
Right.
And then during the war, I remember we were rationed on butter and a whole bunch of things, but shoes were one of them. And I guess I was rough on shoes because I think you only got 2 pair a year or something. And I remember Dad cutting out a piece of cardboard, sticking it inside of my shoe because I'd worn through the sole.
Right.
And then he stuck a piece of leather or something in there one day, and he said, "You are so rough on shoes." And that kind of sticks in, but I didn't really think I was suffering, I mean, what the heck. So no, I thought I was rich, I guess.
Well, and at least in non-monetary ways you were, and also even on the basics. I mean, you were never hungry or without heat or a bed to sleep in.
Right. No, I was well taken care of.
And if you categorized yourself as an indoor person or an outdoor person during that time, you were more
outdoor.
Prefer to be outdoors. Yeah. Did you like to ride? You mentioned you went riding.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite horse or anything?
Oh, we all rode Peanuts, and he was a little Shetland, and he was ornery.
Yeah.
And so we had some major wrecks on him, but we'd pile 4 kids on, and we had some good. And then he would step on your toes while he was trying to get the bridle in his mouth, and so then you'd have to slap him. Something.
I mean, he knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah, and he knew we were a kid, and so you'd start with the bridle, and he'd grit his teeth together, and so you had to grind across his teeth, and then somehow he'd look down and he'd step on your toes. Yeah. So.
And when you talk about going riding with Dad, I mean, these weren't little just 1 hour pleasure rides. I mean, even though you were pretty young, you might be gone half a day or all day.
Easily. Yeah. One of my worst one was moving cattle from the river up to Art. What was his name?
Art Shell or no Art? No, Bowman, not Art.
No. I can't remember.
Well, there's an auto. You weren't thinking of auto.
No. We went by. But anyway, we went up this. It was Dad had rented this guy's pasture for the summer.
Was that what? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Art Fisher, maybe.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, let me. It doesn't,
No,
it doesn't
no,
matter.
I know it,
Doesn't
but
matter.
it makes me mad. I can't think of his last name.
But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, we had to drive him up this canyon, and Carolyn and I the hired man, Dad, and Carolyn and I, and it was a hot day anyway, and down in the bottom of that canyon, it was double hot, and the little calves would lag behind. Of course, we had to tail up the herd, and they would lay down, and you'd have to yell at them, and it was flies, dirt, hot. God, and we finally got up on top, and we thought we'd died almost.
Yeah.
And then we still had to ride about that was a long ways.
It was
5 or 8 miles home,
Yeah.
and we'd cross the river and stuff, and we had to do it all in reverse.
Yeah.
I got in bed that night, and I could hear cattle bawling all night.
yeah, right.
Art Richards was
There, I remember the name now. I don't remember.
And Dad and the hired man, when they got there, Art Richard made his own beer, and they sat down and drank beer. I don't know what Carolyn and I got, but then we had to get on those horses and go all the way home. Ugly, yeah.
So he made his own beer, and he treated Dad
And the hired man.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if that was during Prohibition or not.
no, I don't think it was.
Yeah.
He just
He
did
just
it because
did it,
he's so
yeah.
far out of town. You couldn't
Yeah,
just
right.
get a six-pack,
Right.
So.
Okay, well, those are great remembrances of that period during your grade school at Dalzell, Elm Springs. In terms of your teachers, you said they were all pretty good. You don't remember any as being particularly good or bad?
Well, my Aunt Bonnie taught me,
Okay.
Bonnie Funk, and she was very good. I liked her.
Yeah.
And Jean Deering taught me, and she was pretty good. Can't remember all of them.
Oh, yeah, right.
But for the most part, they were all pretty good.
Did you like school?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love school. So that was all fun.
Okay. Okay, Belva, let's pick up on a couple of things. We talked about the one-room school that you went to out at Elm Springs, and here's kind of an open-ended question. Did you ever get in any mischief or do anything that was a little bit naughty? Probably not, huh?
No, not at all. I was very good. But some people, my brother included, has criticized for me the way I treated one of the neighbor boys.
Oh, tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, the one-room schoolhouse had an anteroom, and on part of it there was a half an attic with little steps nailed to the wall that you could climb up in. And my sister Carolyn and Frances Wilburn and Ellen Finner, we climbed up there and declared a girls' club. And we played up there lots of recesses. But one neighbor boy, Wesley Wilburn, kept trying to get up there, which just annoyed us to no end. So one day I solved the problem. This is just horrible. I brought a hammer to school, and as soon as he crawled up there and his fingers came over the edge, I gently tapped him.
Oh my God. You hit him with a hammer, hit his fingers with a hammer?
Yes.
Oh,
And it really solved the problem.
well, I bet it solved the You're a violent woman.
So I hope nobody comes back to sue me on this deal. But I did do that, and I shouldn't have. But it was, at the time, it was a great solution.
Well, it sure was. It sure was. Well, it took care of the problem, and we appreciate your creativity in solving that problem.
Yeah. Wesley's hands have never been the same.
Okay, well,
Oh, God.
that's a good one. Thank you for that one. Well, let's continue to talk about school, except now high school.
Oh, God. Let's not.
So now it's Sturgis instead of Elm Springs.
Right.
Um,
Culture shock.
yeah, right. Well, What does that mean? What was the culture shock all about?
Well, at Elm Springs, you wore anything you want, or mostly just jeans, and and I didn't know that the teenage era, you were supposed to wear some little cutesy thing every day, and I don't like clothes anyway, so. Or, I mean,
Right.
That's kind of meaningless to me, You'd get looked at sideways if you didn't have your certain little thing on. And so I thought, this is kind of a dumb place to go to school, but, but went anyway. We got acquainted with a lot of kids, most of them that had come in from the country too, and we had a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, Carolyn and I had a lot of fun in high school.
Were you weren't in the same grade, were you?
No. But we all knew the same.
Right.
We knew the same people and stuff, and we had a good time.
There was a division between the country kids and the city kids.
Oh yeah. See, the city kids dressed up and they were cute.
Yeah.
And then there was the rest of us.
Right, yeah. I knew it was a kind of a caste system.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Now, where were you living then in Sturgis?
At 1611 Davenport.
Right. All 4 years, right?
The big White House, all 4 years. Yeah.
And mother was in there with you?
She was. She tried hard. She had a lot to contend with.
Yeah, it was a challenge for her, I'm sure. You talked about your grade school teachers. Any in high school that you loved or detested?
Yeah, there was a few I detested, but Mrs. Anderson was an English teacher, and she was so good. And Mueller, he was.
Who was that?
Oh, I can't remember his first. Mueller, I think, was his last name. He was from eastern South Dakota, and we did history and like social studies with him. He was very good. Yeah. And I shouldn't badmouth the coach of the Sturgis football team, because the team did well. They went to state. They won state the 1 year.
In basketball or football?
Football, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
But, well, no, I can't remember. He coached everything, but...
Oh, would that have been Buell Woodle?
Woodle,
yes.
Woodle. Yes. But as a teacher, he would pass out your books and say, read chapter 2, and he'd walk out of the room and come back an hour later, and it was bedlam. We shot paper airplanes, we did little dances, and, well, it was ridiculous. And then when he'd give us a test and leave the room, we'd just shout answers back and forth across to each other. So that was, I mean, he was a nice man and everything, but not a teacher, not a teacher.
Right. But a good coach.
So, Oh, I forgot during my grade school years, Mom had Jean and Twyla in high school, and then she took Kay and Kirk and Sam, the spoiled ones, with her.
The spoiled ones? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Carolyn and I think for about 2 or 3 years, we stayed at the ranch with Dad. Oh. So we did the cooking, mulligan stew every night, and all of that type of stuff. So Carolyn and I think we more or less raised ourselves.
Okay.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
All right. Well, when I talk to her, and I won't prejudice my question, I'll see if she confirms the fact that you raised yourselves and everyone else was spoiled, right?
The spoiled younger ones were in Sturgis, and Jean and Twyla were in high school.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, that's an important distinction, I guess, because when you first started grade school, there were, well, it would have been four kids.
Yeah.
Well, first, I guess, 3, and then Carolyn.
Yeah.
The four oldest girls, and then at some point, maybe when you were 7th grade or something, Mother moved to Sturgis, and then it was just the two, you and Carolyn, and Dad. Yeah. And that's when you had, that's when you were abused most, I guess.
Yes, I guess so. And one morning, we walked, because Dad always, in the winter, because Dad always had to go feed the cattle. So Carolyn and I walked, we just got a little bit beyond the mailbox. And I said, I am freezing to death. And Carolyn agreed. So we just turned around and went back home. And we pulled up, we were just so cold. And we pulled up chairs in front of the stove and opened the oven door and put our feet up. And God, we were cold. And I had a white spot on my face.
Really?
I did. And some of my fingers. So I knew it was freezing because I had experienced that before once or twice. And Dad always said, you know, if you get a white spot, your skin's freezing. But anyway, he came in a couple hours, and when he was done feeding, and he said, "What are you two doing home?" We said, "It's just too cold, Dad." And he couldn't feel cold. I mean, he was tough. And he said, "Oh, it wasn't that cold." And he turned on the radio for the noon news. It was 20 below.
Ooh.
And so, thank God we turned around. We could have froze to death before we ever got to school.
Really
We could have. We could have.
Well, did you walk all the time, or did he drive you somewhere?
Oh, we walked quite a bit of the time, yeah.
I wonder why that was. Well, I guess it's because when you're down in the Potomac, he couldn't walk.
Right.
When
But up there you could.
It was close
You
enough,
could.
yeah.
And he'd go out to feed and stuff, so.
Okay. Right.
You know, occasionally we'd drive.
Oh, I'm glad you remembered that.
Yes, yes.
Incident. And then back to
High
school. We talked about some of your teachers, and were you involved in any extracurricular activities like band or any of that stuff?
We did. I think it was mandatory, but we did choir one year. And seems like a couple other little things like that, but nothing too great.
Who were, in terms of celebrities and stuff, who was your favorite actor or actress or singer, or anyone come to mind? Or songs that you
I
love?
like Gene Autry.
Yeah, okay. I did too.
Right off the top of my head.
Okay.
Well, I like Frank Sinatra even. I don't know if that was true. Yeah, that was. I think
probably.
he had a few
Probably.
songs out, even back then. And Bing Crosby.
Oh yeah.
And but I just
Yeah.
right off the top of my head,
Yeah.
I can't think of any.
Okay. Did you have any jobs in high school?
No.
No.
Oh, I did a lot of babysitting.
Babysitting,
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember what you got paid?
Oh yeah, like 10 cents an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Is what I babysat this McPherson kid for about 5 years, it seemed like, but I'm sure it wasn't. Through most of the high school.
Right. You talked about chores out on the ranch. What about in town when you were living with Mother? What were you expected to do?
Keep our room clean, help with the dishes and some of the cooking and stuff like that.
Was there anyone else living there? I mean, Mother sometimes had other kids.
Yeah, Joyce Wise stayed there a lot with us. And Audrey Fitzgerald stayed there a little bit. And it was kind of a halfway house. People came and went quite a bit. And some of them not forever, but they were all from the country, and if something happened to their lodging or something.
I mean, so they might just stay overnight, or would they maybe stay for the whole school year?
I think Joyce stayed for 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And Audrey wasn't there that long, but there were different kids like that would. Yeah. And a lot of them were country kids that couldn't. Like Joyce, I can't remember. She probably got kicked out of her boarding house or something, but I know she stayed a couple of months and finished off the school year.
But it was an active household of friends coming and going and everything.
Yeah.
And I think, I remember some of this. There was an actual orchestra set up in the living room or something.
Well, we had a,
Go ahead.
We had a piano there to start with, and then Dale McPherson, I was going with him. Mm-hmm. He brought his drums over and set those up. And Roy Speakman, he had dropped out of high school, but what did he play? Seemed like he had a banjo or something up there part of the time. So anyway, and sometimes at lunchtime and sometimes after school, if Audrey Fitzgerald always played the piano.
Okay.
So if they would crank up the music, well, then the rest of us would dance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had a little
Pretty neat.
impromptu
Yeah.
dances.
Who needs Dick Clark or whatever when you have it right there?
Oh, yeah. And you'd dance with your sister or anybody that happened to be around. And so we did that.
That's fun.
It was fun. Yeah.
You mentioned going with Dale. What was the dating scene like in general? Not you specifically, or more generally. What do people do on dates? Do they go to movies?
Oh,
or
lots of
what?
country dances.
Okay,
and
country
stuff.
dances.
Usually you just went out on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Sometimes movies, but sometimes around Sturgis there we'd go out to Alkali or someplace to a dance or Whitewood or things like that.
Were you allowed to go out during the week, school days? Or?
We didn't very much, but we'd go to a movie sometime. Not dating per se, a lot of times, but Carol and I and Joyce or something would walk downtown to see it.
Did you have a curfew?
Well, I think we did, but I don't think we abided by it too often.
Yeah.
We got in a little bit of trouble. We got a few head slaps.
Yeah. For what reasons, do you remember?
Being out too late or not doing this, not doing that.
Right.
And
But you were a good enough student and everything. You didn't get...
well, I really goofed off the first couple of years because I was having such a good time. But then I finally got a little bit more serious my junior, senior year and tried to do a little bit.
Did you have favorite subjects?
Oh yeah, I liked history. I liked English lit and things like that.
Right.
I hated algebra only because I had to take it my freshman year. You had to have one session of it. And the guy, that was another football coach, he knew it inside out, but I had never even heard the word algebra.
Yeah.
And after the first month, I was totally lost. I didn't understand formulas. With hindsight, now that a lot of these kids, even in grade school, take pre-algebra and stuff. And
right.
They don't have such a struggle because they kind of understand what's coming. I didn't know what was coming in that class, and they lost me in that one.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Did you ever take family vacations, either in grade school or high school, or any trips with the parents?
yeah, we went to Wyoming one time, but it's so vague in my mind. We went back to that Rife Ranch.
Oh, near Rock Springs.
Yeah, and then I remember spending a night in a hotel or some cabins or something, but I'm really vague on that one.
But it's not like many families today that go on a big trip every summer or whatever.
Well, we did go to Sturgis one week. Dad was county commissioner.
Oh, this is when you were going to grade
still in grade school. Yeah. And he had, in the summer, I guess they met for a week or 2 weeks, did they? I can't remember. But Dad would get us a cabin up there on Bear Butte Creek. I guess that's Bear Butte. Yeah.
I think that was it. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
And we thought we'd died and gone to heaven.
Yeah.
And they had grass, and you could go out on the lawns and roll in the grass, with the pothook had thistles and cactus.
Yeah.
And so we just thought, and we fiddled around in the creek there too, and there was actually a swimming pool there too. Mm-hmm. Not that we did much swimming, but and we could walk downtown and get candy and wonderful stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that was.
We just thought we were in heaven.
Of course.
So that was our vacation.
Yeah. Well, listen, Belva, we've got you. We now have you through high school.
Good.
Let's take a little break, huh?
Okay.
Well, we took a break. We've had a cup of coffee, talked about a number of things, including one interesting story of Grandma Funk that you may or may want to
Let me think about that.
You want to think about that one?
At the end of the interview, I might.
It might make this whole project X-rated.
Yes.
So Belva's going to think about that one and whether or not to share it or not. That'll get people's curiosity up. Excuse me. Well, let's move on chronologically then, Belva. We finished high school, and you graduated in good stead and good standing. And talk about the years between high school and marriage. First of all, let's figure out what that time frame is. When did you graduate from high school?
51.
51, and you got married in
55.
55. So we're talking about a 4-year span. And what all happened during that period in terms of what you did and where you lived and all of that?
Okay. Well, right after high school, I went to Spearfish Summer School, the teacher's college. And in those days, it seems ridiculous now, but you could get a teaching certificate after 3 months. So the year of 51, 52, I taught at the Lynn School. And I taught 5 kids, and 2 of which were my brothers, and the other 3 were the Johnson kids. Or, no, I had the one Lynn boy, Bob Lynn.
Okay.
And the 2 Johnson girls. And
That's right.
so I did that for a year. And then a high school friend wanted me to go to Omaha with her, and we went to...
Who was your high school friend?
Oh.
Or do you remember? It doesn't matter, I guess.
Oh, God, why did you ask?
Well, I'm sorry.
I know her name, but I can't pull it up right now. It starts with a W. Whitford. And she said, let's go to Omaha. And we did some kind of, well, they called it teletype in those days, training, but it was a pre-computer age. We could actually send teletype messages to other teletypes. And so we worked for a trucking company in the office, and we would teletype different places to notify them which trucks were going where. And we did a lot of billing, tons of bills for these companies. And I can't remember how long I was down there, a year or so. Then I came back up to Rapid City, and I worked as a secretary at St. John's Nursing Home School. And there were some of my high school friends that were going to nurses training, and some other, but girls that I got acquainted with. Mm-hmm. So we had a very good time at St. John's. I'm not going to go.
Yeah, how much are you going to elaborate on that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let me pick up on that and maybe probe it just a little bit more on some of those things, because there's about 3 things there: the teaching at the Lynn School, the Omaha thing, and then St. John's, which you might not want to talk about. Yeah. But the Lynn School, yeah, I remember that because I was one of your students, at least part of the year.
Yeah.
So when you started teaching, there were really only 3 or 4 kids in that school, and then 3. Kirk and I joined you. One thing I remember, among many, was a blizzard that we had.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, we spent the night in the schoolhouse.
You want to talk about that a little?
Well, a storm came up just really suddenly in the afternoon, and Elmer Lynn came down riding on a horse, and he said the news he got on the radio, it was going to really be severe, and he didn't think he could get us all back up to the house. And he said, so just go into lockdown mode and keep the fire going good, and have those kids wear their jackets, and because it was supposed to get pretty cold that night. And it was a fast, furious storm, and the next morning, well, it was about noon, I guess, then it was letting up. So Elmer Lynn and, was that his hired man or something? They brought a couple horses down, and they loaded us all up and got us back to their house. And so then we stayed with the Lynn's about a week, I think, and went to school because the snowplows hadn't come through to our house, to Dad's house. And yes, it was quite the night in the schoolhouse. And And then I wouldn't let the kids eat all their lunch sandwich because I was afraid they was going to get hungry. And I think the next morning we finished our sandwiches, and then Elmer came down with the horses and stuff and rescued us. So.
No, I do. I remember that fairly well.
Yeah.
And it was a scary episode.
It was.
Even though I was pretty young, I knew it wasn't a good situation.
Yeah.
And I give you a lot of credit for rising to the occasion and taking that responsibility and handling it so well. Because hell, you were only 18, or
Right,
I guess maybe
right.
19 or something. I mean, that's
Right.
being 19 years of age
Yeah.
and feeling a sense of responsibility for 6 or whatever kids, you know.
And then I wouldn't, we had outhouses, but I was afraid to let you go all the way to the outhouse. So I made everybody go to the bathroom right down the steps by the side of the schoolhouse. And I kind of kept an eye on them because it was just blinding. You couldn't see. So I didn't want them to even venture as far as the outhouse. So it was quite the night.
Yeah, no, it was. And I remember we were also, well, you and I and Kirk at least, worried about Dad.
Yeah.
And it turned out he did almost meet his maker.
Or he did, because the horses finally straightened him.
Yeah.
No, the horses even got lost.
That's right.
But he recognized, he had the hay wagon and he'd gone down and fed, and when he came up this thing, it just was blinding. And he kept urging the horse to go the team to go one way, and he was, or they were kind of just milling, I think. In fact, he thought they were circling. And then they came up to a fence, and he knew the barbed wire fence ran, north and south, and another fence ran the other way. So he made that team follow the fence, because he said they even got confused.
Right.
And they got up to the house then. But he froze his face, and his face peeled for a long time. And so he barely made it.
Yeah, no, you know, and our dad had been through a lot of storms,
Right.
and for him to basically get by the skin of his teeth
Yes,
on
he
that
did.
one tells you something about what kind of a storm that was, and how quickly that came up, and how deadly it was.
Yeah, it was deadly.
Yeah.
It was a bad one.
Yeah,
So.
well, I wanted to get your take.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
totally forgot about that, and I don't know why, because it was traumatic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Were any of your students in particular very, very smart? No, I'm not.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, Bob Lynn.
Yeah. Well, seriously, did you enjoy teaching?
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
That wasn't. Well, I probably couldn't do it in this day and age, but all the students were well behaved, and if they weren't, the parents took care of them, you know. So I had no trouble with it.
Now, backing up just a little bit, you mentioned in order to teach you something needed to go to 3 months of what was called summer school, and that was in Spearfish, what's now Black Hills State University. But was that decision something that you pretty much made on your own, or did Mom or Dad encourage you to?
I just can't
encourage you to do
remember.
that?
I guess I was just at loose ends and thought I should do something, and a lot of people did that.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, why not give that a shot?
Well, and in that era, unfortunately, the options for women were
limited.
Basically what you mentioned, teaching or
Nursing,
secretary or
or
nursing.
yeah.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about the Omaha context then. Do you know why Omaha, or why this?
I think because this school, my friend had read about that school down there, and she was kind of at loose ends, and she said, let's go try that. And young and dumb, and you know, and you just do things like that. We worked for the Watson Trucking Company when we got done, and for years I used to see Watson trucks on the road. I don't know if they're in existence anymore or not, but
No, for some reason I remembered that name, and I went out not long ago and checked it out. And of course we lived in Lincoln too, and I also, but they were either no longer in existence or been gobbled up
By somebody
a
else.
bigger firm, I
Yeah.
think, yeah. I have a little secret on the Omaha thing. I used to like to eavesdrop, and now tell me if I have this right or not.
Okay.
I remember being in, this is my recollection, being in Sturgis at the house, and you were talking to our parents about your plans to go to Omaha, and I was in the other room eavesdropping, and my recollection is they weren't very happy or supportive about that.
No.
Is that
That's
correct?
probably about right.
Yeah.
But you're young and you're dumb,
Yeah, right.
and you have to try things.
Yeah.
So I tried it.
Yeah. Well, that was a pretty adventuresome thing for
Yeah.
a 19, 20-year-old girl from a ranch in South Dakota in that day and age to go to a big city 500
Right.
miles away
Right.
and seek your fortune or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I think it's like all parents. They were, you worry about your kids,
Right.
and in that day and age, you probably really did. You didn't have cell phones, and you
Right.
couldn't jump on a plane, or 500 miles was long ways
Right, yeah.
in that day and age. So.
What was the Omaha? Was that a positive year or whatever you were there?
Oh yeah, we enjoyed it.
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was fun.
Carolyn joined you, didn't she? Or did she go
Yeah.
down there with you?
No, she joined us later, and she worked for the telephone company
Yeah, right.
for a while. And I don't know what brought it on, but we both decided at some point that we'd had enough.
Yeah.
And when we just walked off into the sunset, more or less,
Yeah.
I don't know if we even gave notice. But my girlfriend met a guy down there, and she got married, and she stayed in Omaha the rest of her life.
Really?
So, yeah.
That was, what would you say?
Corinne
Corinne.
Whitford.
Yeah, Whitford, yeah. I kind of remember her. Did you keep in touch with her, or is she alive?
She's not alive.
Okay.
I heard that somebody in Sturgis, my last class reunion, somebody said Corinne had passed away. So.
I remember going to Sioux City on, I think, a cattle selling trip with my parents, and you and Carolyn and another woman. I don't think it was Corinne, though, or whatever her name was, came up and spent a night in Sioux City and meet us. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, vaguely, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, but I never made it to Omaha. Did the parents? Our parents, I think, did come down.
They did one time. Yeah.
Well, overall, those 4 years were interesting and fun and everything,
Good
and
time.
no regrets or any.
I should have extended them.
Yeah, right. Now, you worked as a secretary. You said at the hospital.
No, at the St. John's Nursing Home.
Oh, okay, all right.
I typed up tests and
Yeah, okay.
things like that.
Yeah.
So.
And you met a lot of friends that were nursing students.
Yes, and some of them were from Sturgis High School.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them were from everywhere,
Right.
So I met a lot of different people.
Right. Okay. Well, and it was during that time that you met Kenneth J. Reilly, right?
Right.
Is Jay?
James.
Yeah. Jay. Okay. All right. How did you meet Ken? And
Oh, well, Rapid City was a lot of fun, and there was a big air base outside of Rapid City.
yeah.
And there was lots of clubs where there was dancing and
Yeah.
drinking and a little bit of everything. Yeah. So it was one of those nights,
Yeah.
or one of those
Right.
gatherings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember. Of course, I was way too young to be a part of that, but I remember places like the Canyon Lake Club.
Oh,
and
yes.
the Esquire
yes,
Club.
Esquire Club.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right.
we did it all.
Yeah.
So.
And it was during those social events that
Yes.
do you remember
Yes.
the first time you met?
Well, I do, because this was kind of crazy. A good friend of mine, she's still alive, lives in California. She was going with this guy from the base. And I swear we went out, everybody went out every night and did some dancing and stuff. And she called me up and she said, Matt was her boyfriend. And she says, Matt says there's this guy here and he just got here and he doesn't know anybody. She said, how about a blind date? And I said, no, I hate blind dates. And she said, oh, just one night, you owe me a favor and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, my blind date was Kim.
Okay, all right, okay.
So that's how I officially met him.
What were your first impressions of Ken? Or that first
Oh,
night?
I just don't know,
Yeah.
you know, because we've met so many
Right.
people and
Yeah.
it was that crazy time in your life, you know, and he said, I'm going to call you up or something, and I said, oh, whatever, you know, I mean, I wasn't, you know, I didn't take life very seriously at that age and stage, but it developed.
Yeah. Do you know about how long between the time you first met and when you got engaged, or married, or
Yeah,
roughly?
it wasn't very long,
Okay.
maybe 5 months.
A few months,
Yeah.
And of course, Ken is from New York,
Yeah.
Catholic,
Yeah.
doesn't know much about ranching.
No.
So I know. I know.
Nothing in common.
I know that our parents ultimately loved Ken, as we all did.
But they were highly suspicious.
But right at the beginning, what was it like?
Not too good. Not too good.
Oh.
But he stayed at Ellsworth for another like year and a half, and we got married, and we had Lynn, and then he got orders for Texas.
Oh, right.
So that was his last tour of duty in South Dakota.
Right.
So
You actually got married
in New York.
In New York. Huh?
Yeah.
And that probably didn't endure endure you to the parents either.
No, neither side liked us.
But you did it your way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Ken knew this priest at some church there, and so he told us, and of course me being Protestant, and I didn't take lessons or whatever, and I wasn't going to, and I didn't, and so you just had to get married in front of the chapel or something without the big mass and all that. So he told his parents, okay, I've got it lined up with Father, whatever his name was, at like 10 o'clock. And so they said, okay, of course, New York traffic's always bad, but, so we're sitting he said, sit down in the front pews, this priest did, and the people that were standing up with us. So the four of us sat down there, and all at once he says, come on up, and we didn't even look around, you know, because it's going to be very fast, very simple, and so the whole ceremony took about 5 minutes, it seemed like, and we turned around, and his parents were just walking in the door, and they missed the whole thing. So they didn't like us either.
Well, yeah. No one liked you.
No.
On your side of the family, on
side.
Ken's side of the family, but
So that's how it started out.
Fortunately, that all changed, and by the time it's all said and done, everyone loved Ken, and we miss him a lot. We really do. You mentioned that the next stop was Wichita Falls. No,
Abilene. Yeah.
And you want to take it from there in terms of other.
Oh.
Lynn was born
in Rapid
City. That's when Ken was finishing his stint at Ellsworth Air
Right.
Base, and then orders to go to Abilene.
Right. And Abilene was it was culture shock. It was, geographically, it was so bleak after living close to the Black Hills and stuff. It's, the people were awfully nice, but it was just prairie and hot, and you barely left the base or you'd in your air-conditioned house at the time of the year that we got down there. Anyway, then Jamie was born there, and then Sean and Seamus were born there.
Right.
And then he got orders for...
If I could interrupt
Yeah.
for a minute, you were there roughly 2 or 3 years? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it seemed like it's more like just 2. Because the kids are all very close together, you know.
Yeah.
Lynn wasn't even quite 3 when Sean and Seamus were born, so. Anyway, then Ken got orders for Japan, but he couldn't immediately, so he had to go ahead and he couldn't bring.
Didn't you go to Wichita Falls next?
No,
That was afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you the story. I get it all screwed up. Okay, so from Abilene to Japan.
Yeah. Well, we went to,
Yeah.
the kids and I had to go to Sturgis
Yeah.
and wait about 3 months because you had to get some kind of housing before they'd bring over your family. And so he finally got some off-base housing, the patty houses, out in the rice fields. And then we finally got approved, or he got approval to send for us.
Right.
And that was the trip from hell. With 3 or 4 little kids like that.
Oh my gosh.
But leaving Rapid City, Bub Bradley got on the plane with me, and he helped with the kids. And we got to San Francisco and had to spend the night. Fortunately, one of my nursing friends and her husband lived in San Francisco. And they picked me up, and I spent the night with them, and they got us back out to Travis Air Force Base. And then it was, then we got on a military plane. We had taken a commercial plane to San Francisco, and they assigned me 3 airmen to help with the kids, but it scared the hell out of the airmen. They went running to the back of the plane for the most part. And it took us 9 hours to get to Hawaii. It was before jets, and we got off there and spent a couple hours. And and like Jamie was potty trained, but she was so goofed up on that plane for so long. There was a change of clothes there. The boys howled a certain amount, and it was. And so anyway, we regrouped a little bit in Hawaii. Then it was 9 more hours to Wake Island, but Wake Island had a really good military dependent lounge, and the ladies there just took over the kids for about 2 hours, took them into a nursery, fed them, changed them, did it all. And so I did get a little break there. And then we reloaded, and it was 9 more hours into Tachikawa. And anyway, we came straggling off that airplane, and a couple of the airmen did help me offload the kids and stuff. And the one airman said, "Where's the husband?" And I said, "There." And he took this, whoever he was holding, I think it's one of the twins, and handed it to me, to Ken, and said, "Well, thank God." And so I had a 27-hour trip across the ocean with 4 little kids, but
Wow. I didn't know those details. And then you add in basically another 24 hours from Rapid City to San Francisco and overnight.
Yeah.
So you were basically traveling for well over 2 days.
Right.
With
4 kids under 3.
4 kids under 3. Oh, no wonder. I remember Mother was very worried about that whole episode, and you made it.
We made it.
You made it.
We made it, and but we lived. There wasn't enough base housing, so for our first couple of years in Japan, we lived off base in the patty houses, which were out in the rice fields, so to speak. At the end of this one little group of housing, there was a telephone nailed to a pole, so that was your communication. You could call down to the squadron or a few places if you needed anything. And we had a washing machine but no dryer, and it rains a lot in Japan, so we had wires strung up over the kerosene stoves is what we heated with, and we had wires strung up over the kerosene stove to dry the diapers and stuff. And and it was an old Ringer machine, so you had to, it actually washed electrically, but then you had to dump everything into the sink and then refill the tub. And stuff like that.
Wasn't exactly luxury.
Oh, God, no. Dishwasher? I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was a little kerosene burner that you set up in your bathroom, because it was, in the winter, it got pretty cold. And Jamie, I know, once bumped into that and got a scar across her thigh, because they were little. And then eventually we got to move on base.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that was probably the last year and a half when we moved on base. Well, you could buy little base housings. I don't understand how that all worked, but that's what we did. I think it was $1,000 or something. But then on base they had in-floor heating. They were all the floors were concrete, but they had built-in heat pipes. God, we thought we'd died and gone to heaven because we had such nice heat. And we still just had the old wringer washing machine thing, and you had to rinse in the sink and stuff. But we actually had hot water heaters and more hot water, and we thought it was living high once we got on base. But it was a great squadron. We had a lot of fun there, and we still hear from
Do you really?
people that we were stationed with. Well, they're scattered all over.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. So
And how long were you there in total?
just about 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yeah.
So overall, you rate it as a very positive experience?
Oh yeah, we loved Japan. Lynn started kindergarten there, and I wish we could have stayed maybe a few more years. The kids were starting to pick up on the language. They still remember how to count and different little things like that. And no, we really liked Japan, so we would do that one. And I wished we could have stayed a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Oh, and the yen was so down, so far from the dollar, you could get maids.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a blessing.
Sure. Well, you needed that.
Oh yeah, they came. I just had them during the day. They'd come in during the week, during the day, and they would help with all that crazy washing, diaper washing and stuff. And they were great. Had some really good maids. Yeah. So no, we really liked Japan. We'd go back again in a minute. It was good duty station.
Now, while you were stationed there, and even going back to Abilene, was Ken home most days, or was he off on 2-week Air Force
gone.
missions and stuff? Yeah,
Especially in Japan,
Okay.
because they flew down to Thailand and Vietnam. The French had been in Vietnam,
Right.
and they supported them to an extent. And no, he was everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
everywhere
Okay.
except home.
yeah.
He,
But he didn't have much choice, did he? Yeah.
no. And they'd go into Hong Kong, and is Hong Kong where they have the Raffles Hotel? It's the famous hotel.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then he'd come back. Oh, we got to eat at the Raffles Hotel. Oh, yeah, well, I'm in the patty house, chasing for our kids. What's wrong with this picture? No, he was gone a lot.
Okay.
And it wasn't just little overnighters.
Right.
It was,
Well, no, if he takes off for Hong Kong and Thailand and places
Right.
like that,
Right.
those aren't short hops, right? So, okay, let's move on from Japan, and now I've got it straight. I guess that's Wichita Falls.
Yeah, Wichita Falls. And again, Texas is darn hot. not much scenery. Don't tell the Texans that.
Yeah.
But that was a good squadron too. And the kids started school there. All of them, before we left, were in school.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always been stationed with some really nice people. And mostly we've lived on base, so it probably limited us to getting acquainted with the civilian population there. But the ones we did get acquainted with were very nice. Texans are very friendly, and they were good people. So
I remember the blizzard in the schoolhouse. I also remember when you were in Wichita Falls, another natural disaster, and that was
that
not a
terrible
hurricane, a
tornado.
tornado, right?
Yes, and it was, I always forget what class it was, like 5 or something. Anyway, it's about at the top of
Yeah, the
of
scale.
of the bad ones. And yeah, that came ripping through. And we hadn't been there very long. And I had the TV on. We had a TV by then. And they kept giving out warnings. And they said it will cut across. We had a creek there, Iowa Creek or something. But I wasn't familiar with all of the or the landmarks in town, and they'd say, well, it crossed this creek or highway such and such. And I thought, well, we hadn't been there that long, and I thought, well, where is that? And then I went outside looking, and I saw this big black thing coming, and I thought, oh my God. And I got the kids and said they didn't have any. Jamie says they still don't have good shelters, you know. Yeah. And they said, well, you could go down to the Chaplain or something, you know, because it was brick. Well, the Chaplain didn't have a basement either, or, you know.
Yeah.
So people just went in their houses, and we just flattened ourselves on the floor. And our house was right kind of behind the base gate, and that mess came right over just a little to the right of the base gate. But it sounded like a train. It made so much noise. And then everything just got black for, a few minutes, and it spit a little rain and everything, but it tore right through Shepherd Air Force Base. And Ken was in a hangar, and the hangar, they told him all to go to a different hangar, but the hangar he had just been in, those big old iron hangar doors, it just bent him. So he was glad he evacuated to the other one. Right. Yeah. But anyway, then when I went outside after it passed, the side of the house was just covered with, maybe somebody's kitchen curtains, canceled checks. Oh my God. It was the wildest mess of stuff that was just plastered against the back of the house. So that was way too close.
Well, no kidding. I mean, it was close, just right across the street or something.
It was just scary.
As I recall, there were fatalities.
There were 7 people killed, and one was our first sergeant's wife. She jumped in her car. She thought she'd get down to the school and get her kids out, and she wound up right in the middle of it, and it pulled her completely out of the car and killed her on the spot. So, and then our other friends had part of they didn't get hurt, but part of a freight train, the side of a freight train or something, of a boxcar, came through their kitchen and just chopped their kitchen off. And the rest of the house was intact. But, it was scary. It was scary. From that day on, every spring day in Texas, I looked over my shoulder. And I still don't like Texas that much. No, that must have been terrifying. It was.
To be that close.
Right.
And with the kids and everything. Right. Yeah. So you're in Wichita Falls for a few years.
Yeah. And then we went, I'm pulling a blank, Louisiana.
Okay.
So we were in Louisiana. I should get that book out.
If you want to, we can
stop. Turn it off for a minute. Because, like I say.
Okay, we're picking it up again. We've left Wichita Falls for Rapid City, South Dakota. And why did that happen?
Because Ken went to Vietnam for a year, so I went to Rapid City to be closer to relatives. And the kids all went to school in Rapid City, and I had lots of support around there, and it went well.
But you were probably very worried because Vietnam wasn't exactly...
No. And we made tapes, and the kids would talk on the tape and stuff, and so we exchanged tapes, and then we would send him boxes of stuff. Yeah. And I guess in the winter there, while not severe weather, it would get pretty chilly and lots of rain. So he said, send me a heating pad. So we did, and he said it about caused a riot in the barracks. How the hell did you get a heating pad?
Yeah. Right.
So that was one of his stories about.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got through that year.
He was over there for a
Just
full
a
year,
year.
a full year,
Yeah.
and of course you weren't allowed to go over and visit him. Did he have any breaks or?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
He did have a break, and he went to Hawaii.
Okay.
So I met him in Hawaii.
oh, nice.
So he got a leave.
Yeah.
So they called it R&R, Rest
Yeah.
and Recreation or something like that. And so on his R&R thing, he went. I met him in Hawaii. And Mom watched the kids, and I spent a week in Hawaii, and that was nice.
Yeah, that was.
That's the first time I'd been to Hawaii, and I fell in love with the place, and it was very nice. So anyway.
That year when he was in Vietnam, you lived in Rapid City, not
Yes.
New Under Rapid City.
Rapid
Okay,
City,
right.
Rapid
And that
And the
and some
kids
of the
went
kids
to
were going to school there.
Yeah.
Oh, before I forget, when the twins were born, did you know you were going to have twins?
No.
Oh, you didn't.
No.
What was your thoughts when there were two instead of one?
Well.
I'm happy there's not three.
Yes. No. Yeah, we were in Abilene, and we were ways from town, so everybody went to the base hospital. And that base hospital was just round the clock, just overloaded with patients. I think I was probably 5 months pregnant before I even went to the doctor. And then you just went once a month, and I never saw the same doctor twice. And one doctor said that's the kickingest thing a kid I've ever felt. Well, with hindsight, I think it was two kids kicking.
Yeah, right.
So then when they were born, they delivered Sean, and then they were checking to see if I was okay, and this doctor kind of felt my stomach, and he said, what the hell have we got here? And then it clicked with him. He said, oh, there's another baby. So Ken was out in the waiting room. He about fainted. I about fainted.
Yeah.
It was a total surprise.
Oh my! I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
If you knew, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm getting off script here a little bit, but forgive me. Then one of the twins became very ill in Japan.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty scary.
It was very
episode.
scary.
Yeah.
He got pneumonia, and it was.
This was Seamus?
Seamus. He was in the base hospital for 3 months, and we didn't have the drugs that we have now, and they had to try 2 or 3 different drugs on him, and they finally took out a rib and inserted tubes and stuff into his lungs to drain it, but he got through it. But it was very scary. I lost a lot of sleep on that one.
I bet you did. I mean, it was truly life-threatening.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then when I brought him home after 3 months, Sean was walking, and Sean had got all the attention because Sean was like 11 months old or still young. But I brought Seamus home. I guess Sean had forgot about him, because he's so young, and I kept carrying Seamus around because he couldn't walk yet because he had been flat on his back. And Sean would come up and just hang on my leg and whine and want to be picked up. He was a little jealous. He didn't know where this other kid had come from,
Right.
interfering with his mother time, I guess. So,
Well, how long was Seamus in the hospital?
3 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was a long haul.
it was a long haul.
Ooh.
So,
Okay. Well, let me get us kind of back on track here, but I'm glad we talked about those items as well. Let me see. We've done Rapid City, and now it's time to go to Louisiana.
Louisiana, yeah, in the bayous.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went down there, and well, I don't know if I should tell this story or not. But
Oh yeah, tell it.
there's always car travel, 4 kids in a car, and I can't remember how many, must have taken 2 or 3 days to get there, but it was towards evening and it was getting dark and the kids were cranky and we was all hungry and everything, and we were driving down close to some old bayou, and the Spanish moss is hanging off the trees and it's dark and getting scary and looking, and we knew we were close to England Air Force Base, but anyway, Ken said, there's a motel. We couldn't, distinguish it very closely, but I said, pull in, these kids are making me crazy and we're all hungry, so we stayed at it, and we got to the room. Well, the rooms were kind of ratty and not the best, and it was the noisiest night I've ever spent, but we didn't know where else to go anyway, and so and we got the kids settled down a little bit, and they got some sleep, I guess, but anyway, then the next day we were just about 4 or 5 miles from the base, so we loaded him up and he had to check in at the base, and somebody said, well, where did you stay? And he mentioned this motel, and they said, oh my God, that's a fun house, and that kind of made sense about all the noise and the ratty shape it was in and everything. I said, oh God, I took I took my whole family to a house of ill repute, and he more or less did. So that was our first night in Louisiana.
Okay, all right.
So.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. How long were you in Alexandria?
That was pretty short.
What do you think?
Just a little over a year, I think.
Any thoughts about?
Yeah, the kids liked it. We lived off base for a while, and they started going to this Bayou Rapids school, and they really liked that. And then we moved on base, and at that point they could go to the base school, but they didn't want to, and the Bayou Rapids school was just outside the base fence a ways, so they just walked to school and they kept going there. And then Jamie, recently, she and Tom were going through Louisiana, so they went through Alexandria, and she said she wanted to see if she could find where we lived and stuff, and Bayou's Rapids School is still in full gear, so she said that's where I went to school. So yeah, no, we rather liked Louisiana too.
Yeah.
We've had some good assignments.
No, you really have.
Yeah, we have, and good people at the bases and stuff that we really enjoyed. So.
Well, the assignment that you may have enjoyed the most is one we haven't talked about.
I know it. So from Louisiana,
yeah.
then we got Hawaii, and we did the happy dance.
Yeah.
And we lived off base. We just truly loved Hawaii, and we lived off base. Maybe a year, and then we moved on to Hickam Air Force Base, and so the kids went to school off. Well, most of our assignments they'd go to start out off base schools and then go to the base schools, but so they went to Eva Beach School out in. Because we lived in Eva Beach about a year, or maybe a little longer. Then we got on to Hickam.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were to the stage they were transferred. They would have been going into junior high. Lynn and Jamie went to high school there, and you could go to school with your flip-flops and shorts and or no shoes in the lower grades and stuff. So we loved the casual living and the nice weather.
Oh, yeah.
Probably loaded them up and went to the beach every weekend practically.
Yeah.
So it was a good assignment.
And how long was that one?
Nearly 5 years.
Oh, boy, that was nice to have what was probably your longest assignment.
It was.
And
it was.
Your favorite place.
It was. Lynn graduated from there, and Jamie was a junior when we left. And we nearly cried when we left. Nobody wanted to leave. No. So, but anyway, it was a good place.
And then the next assignment was what?
Virginia.
Virginia.
So you talk about culture shock. They went from wearing flip-flops and shorts or barefoot to dress codes, and they still had the blue laws in Virginia. We couldn't even buy a loaf of bread on Sunday, and they're pious people back there in Virginia
Yeah.
after what we'd lived through in Hawaii. And so the squadron was okay, but the kids definitely felt like they had were moving backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, that was kind of tough. So, but we were only there a little over a year, and thank God we got out of. I don't hate Virginia or anything.
Yeah.
There was some pretty historic. They were redoing Williamsburg, and you could go to Jamestown. So there were some historic things there that were interesting, but it was kind of society was a little bit restrictive, I thought.
Right.
And lots of churching and praying and all that stuff that's not especially my cup of tea. So it was so good to go west again.
Yeah. And west was?
McCord Air Force Base in Tacoma.
Okay.
And we were there 6 years, I guess. That was before Ken retired. So, and we really liked McCord Air Force Base. And the boys went to high school there, and they met a lot of good people, and we did too. And we liked that squadron. That was a good squadron. So.
So we've covered 30 years at six assignments, if I counted them correctly, ending with McCord and Tacoma.
Right.
I have you've mentioned a couple times that you really like the squadron. The squadron is sort of your family, right?
Yeah, right,
okay.
right,
and,
right.
And like, how many people in a squadron do you?
Oh God, I don't know the exact number, but we were and it was people from all over, so it was just so much fun, and you'd get different points of view, and it was just interesting, and they were mostly career military guys and families, you know.
Yeah.
So we got to meet them all, thoroughly enjoyed just about all of them. Yeah. So, and we still laugh about some of the crazy people we had been stationed with, and some of the crazy things we did and stuff. And they're all scattered all over the United States anymore, but we still keep in touch with quite a few of them.
That's very nice. And then when you moved from one base to another, the entire squadron did not move.
Well, sometimes a whole squadron could move, but sometimes they didn't.
Yeah.
And so it was always, no matter what, you always ran into a new batch of people.
Yeah.
There might be some of the old timers there with you too, but it was a new group. And for the most part, like I say, career military were darned easy to, because I'd gone through the same thing you'd gone through, and you're talking about where you'd been stationed and stuff, so it was easy.
Yeah.
And we'd laugh about how cushy civilians had it when we'd get to talking about some of our assignments and our goofy lifestyle. But so they were understanding. It took one to know one, So we had a good time.
Well, super. I thought you did. Yeah. So the military career is over, and you're finishing in that in Tacoma. So at McCord. So then what happens?
Well, Ken had, during his military years, he had gone to the Air Force offered classes and stuff. So he had taken a lot of college classes. Well, he got his GED way back, and then he started taking college classes. So when we retired at Tacoma, he had maybe a year and a half to go to get his degree, and the boys had got football scholarships over to Eastern Washington, Spokane, and we were always running over here anyway to see a ball game or something, and we had no permanent home in any case. So he said, well, we might as well go over there, or we agreed, you know.
Right.
So he went to Eastern too for about a year and a half, I guess, and he got his BA, and then, but he had some classes with his sons and some of their fool friends, so that was another whole
Yeah, that was-
experience. And then when he got done with that, since was already situated there, he decided to go for his master's, so he did that.
And you were living in Cheney then?
Yeah, out at Cheney. We started out in a trailer close to Sean and Seamus for a year and a half, and but then we got married student housing
Yeah.
about the last year and a half, so we moved up there. And and this is kind of a side note, but it's kind of interesting. In married student housing was the Korean visiting professor, and we became good friends with him. And after Ken got done, and we kept in touch with him. Anyway, he wanted us to come to Korea to see him, and a Korean student lived there too, and so we went to Korea a couple of summers after Ken got out of school.
Oh, did you?
And well, we went to Japan. We went back to our old base there. Well, Lynn went with us too, and we still had friends stationed in Japan, so we stayed with them and visited with them, and then we went to Korea for about a week, and it's very good. And then the Korean guys, I guess before they left Eastern, I was talking about going to South Dakota, and they wanted to see more of the United States. And so Ken pipes up and says, well, when you go to South Dakota, stop and see Belva. So they came to Grandma's, because that's where I was. And then every day for about a week, I took them through the hills. I took them out to Gene Wilbur's. I took them out to Kirk's and Carolyn's, and they rode a horse out at Carolyn's, and we heard from them for a long time. And we took the older professor, Marvin took him in a pickup like that, and we went down on the Shepherd Flats and looked down the river and stuff, and he said, his English wasn't great, but he said, oh my, just like John Wayne movie.
Well, he's right.
We had to laugh. But anyway, that was another acquaintance that we really enjoyed.
Sure.
And we got to see him. And then when we went to Seoul, they were just all over the place entertaining us. So that was kind of a fun.
Yeah, those kinds of friendships that lead to all those experiences. That's pretty. Pretty special.
Oh, it is. It is. So that was good. Right. So that was the college years.
And living in Cheney.
Yeah.
Finishing a bachelor's and attaining a master's.
Yeah.
And then?
Well, then we kind of, where he applied for, Ken could go a little crazy, so he put in applications from schools all the way from Boise to God, all over, And then we got to narrowing it down, and there was a school outside of Moses Lake that needed a counselor, and so we moved there, and we really liked Moses Lake too. It's a good town and good people, and he worked at this little town of Warden as a counselor for 6 years, and then he worked in Othello for a couple of years. They needed a counselor. And then he was at the Moses Lake Junior High. And, it was junior high. Well, it had grades, though, up to freshman, I guess. I don't know, I should check that. I'm sure we always called it junior high. But anyway, and I worked at Head Start while we were there. Well, while he was going to Eastern, I went back to this community college here. because I knew I didn't have time to get a 4-year degree, but I got a 2-year
Oh,
degree.
did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it.
At least, maybe I knew it, I forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was great. Because I always liked school.
Yeah.
So, and I took a ton of classes really quick because I had to get done as fast as he did, or
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did get my AA, but
Mhm.
it would have been fun to get the rest of it, but I didn't.
You still can?
But, well, oh yeah, there's nothing left. So anyway, then for a few years he was at that junior high, and was one of the first school shootings.
I remember that.
And so we had to live through that one because the principal's wife got killed, and they were pretty good friends of ours, and some students, and it was all just awful.
Wow.
But
I remember that. It was a national news
it
story.
was so awful. The wrestling coach finally got that kid out in the hallway because he had wrestled for this wrestling coach, and so that he knew him really well, as opposed to like Ken, who was probably just walking, or the principal, they probably knew of him, but anyway, the wrestling coach calmly talked to him and got closer to him and grabbed the gun, or it could have been even worse, I guess. So, no, that was terrible. Anyway, the last couple of years, then Ken went to the Moses Lake High School, and that's where he finished.
Mhm. That would have been a period of serving as a high school counselor for 10 years or more. Or something like that.
Yeah.
When he was at Moses Lake and there was that shooting, I mean, he was, of course, probably very distressed himself.
Right.
But he had to then serve as a counselor for others too.
Right.
Probably.
He and the principal, she was great. They visited all the families, the shooter's family, the other families. The school was closed, I'd say, a week or so, and then they'd stop by the house and talk about who they'd visited. Well, did you meet that Dick Dean at the funeral?
Dick, what's his last
name? Dean.
Don't think so.
Yeah, he was like a vice principal during that time, and the other day when I was talking to him, he talked about that. He said, "Oh, thank God I had Ken working with me." He said, he got to barking orders, and I says, "Dick, he was good at that." And he said, "Get the buses in here, get that group of kids to da-da-da," and that, because it was just a total crisis.
Yeah.
So he said, I called my daughter and told her I was going to Ken's funeral, and his daughter's grown and lives in Seattle and stuff, and she said, oh, was that the guy that you worked so hard together on during the shooting? Because the name kind of rang a bell, and he said, yeah, that was. So that was a traumatic little time in Ken's life.
But good for Ken for being there and doing such incredible work at a time of great need.
So we got through that one, and so.
And then, go ahead.
Well, anyway, we really liked Moses Lake, and anyway, then Ken retired from there after 15 years.
And moved to Spokane.
Lived with Lynn about a year while I was house hunting. I had a hard time making up my mind. And
so the house we're sitting in right now is the first and only house you've had in Spokane.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't quite sure about that.
The housing market was really down, and this was a new development, and it was really going reasonably. Right. And so thought, why not? So we did. Yeah. And we'd always been crowded into base housing and stuff. I said, let's go someplace where we can see a tree and not have a neighbor yelling at or right next door. So
no, it's a beautiful setting.
So we like it.
It really is. We talked a little bit about Ken's counseling work. It just occurred to me, and when he was in the military for those 30 years, what was his role? Not rank as much as what did he do?
Well, it was kind of a lot. He's, of course, as an airman, nothing. He was nothing, but he worked up to Chief Master Sergeant, which is the highest enlisted rank.
Okay.
And he barked orders.
Okay. All right.
Get out there and get that plane loaded and do this, do that, you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
And
All right.
yeah, he loved to boss. So
Okay.
he still was on a lot of trips, even in Tacoma, so he was never home very much, even during any era, really, I guess.
If you had I'm talking about the 30 years that he was in the service. If you had to estimate the amount of time he was gone,
God.
what do you think? Half the time?
Oh, maybe third.
A third, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, he wasn't home very much.
But and oftentimes these were extended trips. Well,
Oh, yeah.
apart from Vietnam, but you know, being gone a week or.
Oh, yeah, in Japan, it was easily 2 or 3 weeks. And we didn't have the phone or the communications we have now.
Right.
So he'd say, well, I think I'll be back in about 3 weeks. And sometimes he was, and sometimes he wasn't. And I know you're a spook, but I'm not such a spook. But in Japan, some kid ran through the patty houses and was stealing things or something. And so I got a little more cautious, and I did lock the doors, and then but it was just an old hook lock, you know. So I did, and he was gone on a pretty long trip, so I put the butcher knife under my mattress.
Oh, absolutely. You need more than one, though. You need 2, one for each hand.
And then he came home, and like I say, we never know when he's coming back, and no communication system. And he came home in the middle of the night, and I guess I was pretty groggy. You know, I'd only been asleep a couple hours, but I realized somebody was there, and I sat upright with a butcher knife in my hand. He said, "What the hell are you doing?" So he always told a story about how I tried to kill him. So.
Okay. Now, you mentioned when you were in Moses Lake, of course, the kids were out of your hair at that point,
Right,
and
right.
you got your associate degree, and then you worked as a teacher's aide or something.
I worked in the school district just on a on-call basis.
Okay.
For maybe a year and a half, and then Head Start needed somebody, so I worked at Head Start for 6 years.
Oh, okay.
And that was quite the experience too.
Was that positive?
Oh yeah. We have quite a Hispanic
Yeah, right.
population out there because they worked in the fields and stuff, and so I even actually took a couple of Spanish classes. Not that I know much of it, but I got so I could at least communicate a little bit. And yeah, it was good. It was good. It was kind of an eye-opener in the fact that I wasn't aware, that there was so much poverty, you know, because all these kids had to come from really low incomes to work. And it wasn't always the parents' fault either, you know.
Right.
You know, it was just circumstances. It wanted to be in the hospital for something, and I thought, oh dear God, how do you live, you know?
Yeah.
But so it was low income, poverty type kids, but still it was they did well for what they had. And for the most part, parents were good, and we had a good staff, and so it was a pretty good experience too.
No, Head Start covers what were the age of these kids?
Oh, it was just little kids.
Just little kids, yeah, okay.
Yeah. They
That's what
weren't
I thought.
even in
Yeah.
kindergarten.
Yeah, right.
And then the Job Corps, there's a big Job Corps thing in Moses Lake, and this was kind of interesting too. That they always wanted those kids, you know, that were given in different training and stuff. So some of those Job Corps kids would come over and help us out, and they too had horror stories. Not horror stories, but a lot of them were from the West Side, and no money or no parent or something, and they were so they would come over and help us, and they were trying to get some job training and stuff, but it was a whole segment of population that I guess I didn't really know too much about, and so it's a good education for me too.
Yeah, right. You probably learned as much
I
from
did.
them as
I
they
did.
did from you in terms
Right.
of them sharing their lifestyle experiences
Right.
and culture and stuff, and especially with the Hispanic group. That was-
Right.
and good for you for taking
Yeah.
some Spanish and trying to
Yeah.
appreciate and understand.
Yeah. And we had to do home visits,
Mhm.
and some of the homes would just scare you. I mean, you talk about bare bones, and then of course they lived on the fringe anyway, so the one lady's husband was kind of violent, and she'd divorced him years ago, I guess, but right at the front door when he came in, there was a shotgun, and she kept that gun right at, I'm trying to do the home visit and looking at, and she'd look out the window every once in a while like, who's coming up the sidewalk? And I thought, oh dear God, let's don't have a shootout. And one home visit I always had to do in the local bar because this lady worked so many hours, so I'd sit on a bar stool and we'd go through what the kid was. So it was quite the, I worked with quite a population, let me tell you. But
that's really an important program, and to have people like you there to
and
do
the
a good
kids,
job and take it seriously and have some empathy for those folks that don't
so-
have as opportunities the rest of us
I
might
know it,
have.
I know it. I just didn't know, between them and the Job Corps kids, I thought, oh dear God, thank God we had enough money to eat and clothe our kids, you know, so made me look at life a little differently.
You mentioned your kids, and while this is primarily about you, your kids are an important part of you. So, just give me a quick rundown of your 4, or you might, if you want to take the Fifth Amendment or whatever that's called on this one, you're allowed to do that.
Well, when we left Virginia, Jamie was out of high school. Lynn went to 1 year of college at William and Mary school there, and so she had 1 year of college under her belt, and Jamie had just graduated. And and I was driving to South Dakota and then was going to go on to Tacoma. But I guess he must have driven too in different cars. Some of my life is a blur. But he wanted to go up to New York first and spend some time with his family before he went cross country. So we stopped in South Dakota, and in the military, you have to declare a state of residence. And if you're an out-of-stater going to college, then you pay out-of-state tuition. Well, we had declared South Dakota our state of residence. So we'd talked about it, that that Lynn and Jamie would have to go to school in South Dakota for tuition reasons. And their story is, we drove across the state and kicked them out of the car and said goodbye, and we went on to Tacoma. Well, it wasn't exactly like that. But anyway, they finished school at South Dakota State, and they both got teaching. Well, Lynn was into speech therapy, and Jamie was into teaching. And so they followed those careers. And then Sean and Seamus, when we got to Tacoma, they still had a couple years of high school left. And then they got quite a few football offers, but they settled on Spokane because they liked it. And then Sean actually got a teaching degree, mostly in physical ed, and he even did an internship with that. Seamus got a degree in recreation.
Yeah, well, of course.
Guess what? So he was the recreation little director out of the prison here for a few years, and Sean immediately decided that wasn't his cup of tea, even PE teaching, and I guess he didn't do any of that, but he goofed around for a couple of years, and then he hooked up with a trucking company
Oh, yeah.
in Tacoma, Puyallup, and he was selling freight, or you know, he was the freight guy and directing trucks and what have you, and he loved it. And he got married to Gail, and she was a physical therapist, so they stayed in Tacoma quite a few years. And just moved over here the last 10 years or so. And then he got out of the trucking company and took a few deep breaths. And he wanted to do something, but he was kind of tired of the trucking thing. So he started his sandwich shop. And Seamus stayed at the prison quite a while. And then...
On the outside, not the inside.
Yeah, well, there is that. There is that. How could you tell the difference? And his wife, she was into some big company with computers, and she flew all over the country and just made big bucks. And in the meantime, they were trying to shop. They had the 2 kids already and trying to get them to school and home and blah, blah, blah. And so he decided to be the house husband, and boy, that worked. Because they would even call me from Moses Lake to come over, or you know, I mean, and so he did that, and of course he was always messing.
Okay, we're back at it. We've changed the setting a little bit, and it's important to note the background piece now is the cream separator from the ranch house out at Elm Springs, South Dakota, that Mother had, and maybe before her mother, I don't know. But Belva and I both grew up turning that handle on occasion, right?
Yes.
So
And the milk came out here, and the cream came out here.
that's right. Yeah, that's why it's called a separator. Those pans are also, I think, from
The laundry
ranch.
room, I think.
Yeah.
They were a double boiler.
Okay. All right. So anyway, that's our new background piece, and we're going to do the third and final segment here. And Belva, just sort of, we've kind of covered some of this, I think, but in terms of your current life and the things that bring you joy, fulfillment, sadness, how you spend your time, whatever.
Right. Oh, our retirement years. Have
Yeah,
been good.
yeah.
We've got 3 of the kids living close by, and we've taken quite a few trips. Well, I always go to South Dakota, usually once a year, but we have gone to Hawaii numerous times and visit Jamie a lot because she and Tom move a lot with the football thing. So we've spent a certain amount of time in Texas and California and even Boise, Idaho, visiting her, and Reno. So we've traveled around a certain amount, which we enjoy.
Do you have a favorite place?
Well, I like Reno, and that was a pretty town. And that was probably the best one out of the whole group. But we've enjoyed all of them because then we'd take side trips. When they were in Fresno, we'd go up to Yosemite and things like that. So we got to see a lot of pretty country. So we've enjoyed that. And then Ken was with an aerobic swim class here out at the base, and met a lot of nice people there, and we've enjoyed all those. And I've got some good neighbors here too. So I've had a good time with all of those. And it's especially nice to have kids around. So.
Oh yeah, sure.
And the grandkids.
So
we've had a good time with them.
How many do you have in total, grandchildren?
We have 7 grandkids.
Okay, all right. And
we have Kayla, the oldest, and she's been out of college 3 or 4 years or longer. Has a good job. She's getting married in August. Kendra's been out a couple of years. She has a good job. Little Seamus is an accountant, and he works in Phoenix because he doesn't like cold weather. And we have Dalton, and he's he just graduated a year ago, and he still works here in Spokane. And Danny, who's 21, she's got a couple of years to go. And Brenna, she lives in Dallas, because that's where Tom and Jamie were.
Right.
She just got her master's and wants to go into sports management. And then we have Cassidy, and she claims she is number one. She is 14 and knows everything, and will be going into the first year of high school.
Okay.
But they've always been great fun. We like having them around.
Yeah. Super.
So,
That's nice to have all that family support and those grandchildren, and now they range from ages about 14 to
28.
28, yeah.
Yeah.
Total of 7. Okay. Well, Belva, let's shift to kind of just a broad-ranging set of inquiries that aren't necessarily specific to the chronology of your life that we've just recorded, but they're part of your life and part of your thoughts about the world and about a lot of things. But let's start by telling me what you not remember as much, but I'm thinking about mother and dad. How would you describe our parents? And each of us might have a different description.
Yeah.
This will be interesting to see how this turns out in terms of their personalities, their character, their temperament.
Right. Well, Dad was very easygoing. You couldn't get him excited. And I always thought of him as being very broad-minded. And, you know, if you got down on some group or organization or something, he would say, now wait a minute, they do da-da-da-da-da. And he could see both sides of an issue, I always figured. I liked the way he thought.
Mm-hmm.
And Mom was a good mother. I mean, she got a lot done. She was a good cook and didn't like dirt or dogs in the house.
Yeah.
So she got after us a little bit more than Dad did, but probably rightly so.
Yeah.
And she was a little more opinionated. And she didn't quite see it as broadly as he did, I don't think. But she was pretty people smart, and usually if she labeled one of them, it was right.
Yeah. And she would do it quickly.
Yes,
It wouldn't take her very long.
No. But they were overall very good parents.
Right.
Yeah. So.
How strict were they, and what kind of discipline did they provide if needed?
I don't think Dad had any discipline. Mom would get after us about, well, you're not going to do such and such, and so. But she wasn't strict, you know.
How were they in terms of areas of religion and politics and community life? Were they?
No,
How would you assess that?
Yeah, I always thought Dad was pretty liberal in his thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I could never quite get a feel for, well, he wasn't radical about religion. He kind of went along with it, but I never got the feeling that he was just gung-ho about any one religion or not. You know, he was kind of middle of the road on religion, I thought. Mom made us get to church every once in a while. She thought she needed a little help getting us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
But I really don't know what her overall philosophy was about religion. She was a little more churchy than Dad was.
Right.
But
were they active in organizational and community life?
well, it was really hard out at Elm Springs. It was sparsely populated, and about the only social life was the Elm Springs dances once a month at the hall or something.
Right.
But if there was a funeral or something, they would certainly go help out. Or if there was any disaster, they would, you know, so. But,
If things worried them or stressed them out, what would those things, what might those things be?
Oh, well, Mom worried about her parents, especially about her mom after Grandpa passed away. And she worried about her brother, Bud, who was in a wheelchair
Right.
most of his life. But I don't think she worried too much about other things.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think brought them the most joy or life satisfaction?
oh, Dad loved ranching. He liked being out in the
Yeah.
wide open. He didn't need to be cooped in and things like that. And Mom, I think, truly enjoyed running that household and putting up with all of us. And,
Yeah.
and it was quite a bit to put up with. But
No, there was. There was.
and Dad truly enjoyed his kids, even his grandkids. I was back there visiting one time, and at that point he stayed in bed quite a bit, and Carolyn or somebody was over there with somebody little, a 2-year-old, and he said, put him on the bed, and that kid crawled all around the bed on him, and he just smiled and smiled.
Oh, that's sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, he liked that, so.
Yeah.
So he was very patient with kids.
Yeah, I know he was. That's a great little memory.
Yeah.
And a nice statement about our dad, yeah.
And then Carolyn and I used to have to go down to Cummings' place in the summer and cook a little bit for Dad while he did the haying.
Yeah.
And there was nothing at the Cummings' place, not even a radio. And so evenings, and we just had the kerosene lamp, he would bring some magazines, the the Cattleman magazine with him, and he would read us stories out of there of pioneer stories and how to build a corral and all.
Well, he would read those to you guys.
Oh yeah, we just sat there and thought it was great. So.
Well, I think we agree that they were great parents, but maybe not perfect. So, with that in mind, is there anything in looking back that you wish they had done differently, either as a parent to you or others, or?
No, I guess I kind of wish Mom was a little more broad-minded sometimes, because once she would get her mind made up about a subject or a person, there was no sway in her. But otherwise, they were good parents.
Do you have a favorite story, humorous or otherwise, about each of them?
Well, I always remember when we would get ready to go to Rapid City, which was a big event if you got to go to Rapid City, and or any place as far as that goes. And at the time, I thought Mom was the slowest person on earth, but with hindsight, she got all of us cleaned up and ready, and Dad was ready. So we would all set out in the car, and would wait, and it'd be another half hour before she would come out. But she was putting away food and cleaning up the kitchen and getting ready. So then when she'd finally come out and get in the car, we'd all clap. And that always sticks in my head about how we got ready to go places. Yeah, there's been various things like that I think about, and I have to laugh.
Yeah.
They put up with a lot, with 7 kids. God.
Anything about Dad that comes to mind?
Oh, no, he was just so stoic though, and I always felt safe around him, or calm.
Okay, we had a little technical difficulty, largely operator error by me. So we're gonna, we think we're picking up where we left off. In our closing segment here. So Belva, what are some of your best childhood memories?
Oh, some horseback riding and playing with my sisters and being outside a lot, just goofing around. That was all good. going to the river every once in a while and wading in the river and messing around there. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Right. Okay. If you were to, well, let me see. How has the world changed since you were young? What might be this? I don't know. You can think of it in terms of 3 or 4 things that might be so much more different than they were when you were growing up.
Well, as far as physical labor, life got easier.
Yeah.
We don't have to scrub clothes on
Yeah.
the board, so to speak. And transportation got better. So that changed a lot. And we can get across the country in no time. And well, and I think TV and things like that has made the world more understanding of other
Right. Yeah.
nations and places and people, and I like that.
Yeah.
It opened up the world,
Mhm.
and so I don't think people are quite so set in their ways and prejudiced about this and that. Now that they're more aware of there's other people and other ways of doing things,
Right.
and for the most part, it has been positive, I
Yeah.
think.
You mentioned for the most part, in the things that you identified, I think we would probably all agree are changes for the better. Are there things though that you kind of wish hadn't changed,
Yeah.
or things that you're not quite so sure were positive
Yeah.
in today's world that we could maybe be a little better off if we went
Right.
back to the good old days or not?
Yes, I think there's aspects of it where we could slow down and smell the roses and pay more attention to people, and actually stop and chat for a minute to the bag boy or whoever.
Yeah.
And but we're in such a rush, and I'm not sure where we're going in such a rush.
Yeah.
And I think we could pause and take a deep breath every once in a while, traffic-wise, you know, just in
Yeah,
general,
yeah, right,
you know, and
right.
with other people and
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And maybe get off of our cell phones and actually talk to people.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Oh.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
But
Thinking back to when you were young on the ranch or grade school or whatever, most of us daydreamed and thought about our futures or whatever. Did you do that? And if so, did you see yourself in a certain way in terms of the future, or did you have certain, I don't, dreams or aspirations or a life that you imagined that either did come true or didn't come true or whatever?
I don't think so. I think I was kind of down to earth and just
Yeah.
knew life would go on kind of like it was. So I wasn't
Right.
up in a cloud someplace,
Yeah.
so to speak.
What do you have or feel as your greatest sense of accomplishment or accomplishments?
Well, it was it was very difficult, but I got those 4 kids raised.
Yeah.
Nobody's in jail.
Right. Well, that's pretty significant.
And that took a lot of work. let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. So.
That's something you take pride
Yes,
in.
I do, and trying to get along with. We were thrown in with so many various people and races and strange places. I did try to make an effort to get along with everybody.
Right.
And I'm glad I did, looking back, because you know, it might have helped a little bit in the general, you know.
Yeah.
In general, to try to help a little bit, keep a little
But, you know,
peace and sanity with the world.
That causes me to realize that and myself, I mean all of us, I guess,
where we grew up, we didn't have much exposure to
No.
other. I mean, Ken, on the other hand, I mean, did
Yeah,
quite a bit
right.
by growing up in a very dynamic and diverse,
Right.
a big nation's biggest
Right.
city. So that was either something that you could either embrace or reject, and it sounded like you embraced it.
Yeah, no, because we just had a lot of good people around.
Right.
I mean, initially, sometimes I'd meet, well, even in Japan, I thought, whoa, what is this
Yeah.
person trying to say to me? Their
Right.
English wouldn't be good or something, and why would they eat this or that? And then I thought, wait a minute,
Yeah.
try to understand that you're the foreigner here,
Yeah, right, yeah.
so.
Yeah.
um,
What are some of the most important sort of lessons that you've learned over the years?
Oh, I guess, again, like trying to get along and not making a big deal out of every little, everybody has been slighted or something, and not to make a big deal out of little crap,
Yeah.
because it's not worth it in the
Yeah.
long run, so.
Keep things in perspective.
Yeah, you bet, you bet. Try to look at it from the other guy's point of view.
Mhm.
So,
Finally, if you were to give some words of wisdom or advice or counsel to today's 15 to 25-year-olds as they embark on the rest of their life's journey,
yes.
what might be the 3 or 4 most important things that you would tell them,
Well,
either to do or not to do?
Right. First of all, I would say be tolerant and be patient. And life can be pretty tough. And so don't be very judgmental because it could happen to you too, or And tolerance, I think, goes a long ways in life. I mean, it's very easy to, I don't like such and such. And you got to get along, and it makes your life go better if you're not always arguing with somebody or ticked off as this or that. And if there is something socially that bothers you, like how fast they're going down the highway even, then go do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't just complain that,
Right.
boy, we need a speed limit up here or something, you know.
Yeah.
Go do something about it, you know. And, I think tolerance and being active, and if there is, change what you can,
Right.
you know.
Yeah,
And
right.
kind of like the AA outfit says, accept what you can't say, change, you know. And
Right.
I like their philosophy.
Yeah.
Um,
So that serenity prayer, right? There, that talks about that.
Yeah.
Accept the things you can't change, and be able to know the difference between the ones you can and can't,
Right,
something like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how
Right.
it goes, but I like that. And I like the little phrase, to each their own, because just because your neighbor does something one way doesn't mean that he has to do it your way,
Right.
or that your way is right and his way is wrong. You know, we all do things a little differently and think a little differently, and to each his own. I like that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Outside of that, I think I'm just done. I've run out of wisdom.
Well, no, those are powerful and important thoughts to share, I think. So, with that, now if we think of other things we want to talk about now or in the future, we can easily come back and loop around and do that. But
Yeah.
I think for the moment,
Yeah.
we're
Well, I should
well.
add.
And if there's anything else you want to add right now, yeah,
Well, real quickly,
yeah,
all of these little things like to each his own and accept the other guy's point of view are good in general practice, but it's especially important with family because it's just too easy to get mad at Aunt Nancy or somebody because they didn't see it your way.
Yeah.
Well, don't do that, because she's gonna be your aunt or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, the rest of your life, and get along. Either overlook it or work around it or something, you know, because I hate family fights.
Yeah. Right.
Most of all, because I think they're the worst.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
outside of that,
Okay. Lots of good, your life story, the memories you've shared, and your insights about life and suggestions for the future.
yeah,
Very good.
I,
Very good.
yeah, I think I'm thankful in a way that it was kind of an unstable lifestyle in a way, but I'm so thankful that we moved as much as we did, and we got to see as much as we did, and we got to experience different settings, different lifestyles, different people. It was good for me.
Right.
It made all of us grow a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
And I think my kids too, they have more tolerance for other ways of
Right.
life and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
But,
At the time, it was disruptive.
oh, it was, and it took a while to wrap your head around that, well, okay, we're gonna do it this way or that way, or we, you know.
Yeah.
So we learned how to go with the flow.
Right.
Even if we were completely out of our setting and our way of life,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but it was good for us.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm glad we had that experience.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Okay. Well, I think we are done, and thank you.
Oh,
For your time.
it was kind of fun, and but the brain is shot. Just shot. I don't know.
Well, as I mentioned, this is the first full-length
Okay.
quote interview I've done, and you set a high standard for the rest of us.
Oh yeah.
All right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Earlier, we talked about your life with Ken and his distinguished military career, and then him going back into the counseling field, and your life as a couple. But what we didn't talk about was a bit more about Ken's history, his family. Well, I mean, we did indicate that he was from New York and all of that, but a little bit more about Kenneth Reilly in terms of his family and heritage and.
Okay. Well, three of his grandparents migrated to New York City, and they were all kind of from the same area, and the other grandparents' parents had migrated, and so he had 400% Irish grandparents, and they lived in a kind of a Irish neighborhood, and he had lots of cousins and aunts and uncles to visit and stuff. And he talks about playing dodgeball in the streets. That was their playground. And then he talks about some of their celebrations, baptisms and weddings and stuff. And the Irish tend to drink quite a bit, so they had some pretty good celebrations, as I understand it. But they're also kind of hot-tempered, and they also had a few disagreements. But and he went to Catholic schools, and he rode buses and trains and what have you to get to the various schools. But he didn't quite finish high school.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, when he talks about his cousins and aunts and uncles, it was always positive, but it was a little wild.
A little crazy. Yeah.
Little crazy, yeah. But
What occupation did his mother and father have?
oh, his father, well, I don't know. Initially, I think he worked someplace or for some company, but then he ran a grocery store in the neighborhood, and for quite a few years while Ken was in like junior high and part of high school, he was a delivery boy, and he talks about lugging at that time you delivered the groceries, and he talks about going up 4 flights of stairs with sacks of groceries, and kind of even till this day yelling and screaming about it. It was hard work.
Yeah. Oh yeah, would have been. Yeah.
And
Right.
then later on, his dad sold the grocery store, and he went to work for Anaconda Copper.
Oh, okay.
They have some big manufacturing
Right.
plant there.
Yeah.
His mother was, for the most part, a housewife.
Oh my God. Mhm.
During the war, I understand she worked a little bit at some factory
Yeah,
or something.
okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure on that, but it was that was short-lived.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
part of the Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what she did.
Tell me a little bit about how you characterize Ken's personality.
Oh, 100% Irish, short-fused,
Yeah.
impatient, and a few choice cuss words.
Yeah.
And but once he'd calm down and think it through, but I was constantly having to calm him down.
Yeah.
Say, now wait a minute. You should ask Sean and Seamus about Ken's personality.
Well, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. But
Overall, he was good.
yeah.
But
And he was very gregarious and social, as I recall.
oh yes,
Fun loving.
yes. Talked to everybody. And
Yeah.
Invited everybody to our house, and
Yeah, whether you knew they were coming or not.
Oh, exactly. We cooked some meals and had various people that just. It was a parade of people over the years, but that was good.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, listen. Thanks again. Okay, I'm just getting a little better shot here of this separator that was in the background when I talked to Belva, but I didn't have the full view. So there it is. Here's another piece of memorabilia from Grandma Corliss's days, era. This is her washing machine that was for many, many years out at the ranch in South Dakota. Okay, Belva used to make table runners, which I didn't even know what a table runner was, and sell them, and she's got a lot. And here's one she's holding up. Here's some other ones
Here.
for buffets as well as larger tables. And she's going to be in the process of getting rid of those. So, thank you, Belva. This is Belva's home, and where she and Ken lived for a number of years in south of Spokane, Washington, a few miles. Specific address is 1219 Wildflower Lane.